right? Like, I mean, I would say I'm a man now. I came in at 17 years old when I early enrolled, so that's a real six, by the way. That's a true six. Um, yeah, I would say just my general maturity, my outlook, and my perspective on things. I think I'm much more open-minded than I tended to be before. I think I'm much more now aware that I don't know so many things that I thought I did at first, and it's all opened more opportunities to learn and grow and become more and better of a man. Yeah, I would say I'm more of a mentor now. With all those guys, and Trout does a really good job bringing the right guys in, but most of my like mentorship now is kind of just leading them in, decisions that maybe I regret it, but things I wish I would have done differently, and like kind of making it more of a straightforward path for them, and having them learn from mistakes that I made as opposed to ones that they have to make. And again, the character of the guys that are brought into the room is spectacular. We have amazing guys at Penn State, specifically in the offensive line room. But, just trying to lead them in the right direction, which they all are very receptive and coachable and are open to criticism. Yeah, I mean, there's not. I don't know if there really isn't another unit-specific award, and I think that directly can correlate and directly shows and displays the effectiveness of your unit, the Joe Moore Award. So, if you're the best offensive line in the nation, you win the Joe Moore Award. So, we obviously want to be the best offensive line in the nation, so you win the Joe Moore Award. Now that specifically with SMART goals, you want something that's measured, and that is something that can directly be measured. So, I would say just the experience, the mentality of the guys in the offensive line room, the communication we have, the rapport that we build, and the connection that we have with the running backs as well as Drew, and the new wide receivers we have in. We kind of know what he likes to do, maybe tendencies that he has to better protect him. So. I just say that we're just a veteran unit that wants to prove ourselves right.
Nick, I just want to ask you one thing about Illinois.
About Illinois?
About Illinois.
Okay.
Considered to be a team kind of on the come. You played them last year. What did you think? Did you tell anything about Illinois that it was getting better?
Yeah, I would say with Illinois, they're a very physical team, like a very physical team, and I would say in Penn State's history, we played them. We've always been a tough opponent to play. They're very physical in the trenches. They're great size, and the guys that maybe aren't as tall or as weight, if they're quick, and specifically, I don't think they talk enough about their second level linebackers. Their linebackers are fast and they come downhill. So I think with Illinois, they're just going to continue to be a tough team to play. And when you go and play Illinois, you got to set your jaw because, they like to play in the trenches.
Where are they on the spectrum physically, or where were they, I guess, last year of a playoff team?
I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? Each team is so different, but I tend to think that the Big Ten tends to be the toughest, so they were on the upper echelon comparatively. And we had a dogfight with them. And I would like to say that we had a good stretch last year, and we obviously didn't handle other opponents as we did with them, so they're on the upper echelon. Absolutely.
You guys played Ohio State really close last year. There was really not a huge margin of difference. What was the difference in that game?
What was the difference in the Ohio State game? Margin of error. When games like that it's going to come down to 1 to 2 or 3 plays. We just didn't execute in those 2 to 3 plays, and that's what it is for us. That's us being 1-0 and taking every rep in trying to win, because it's going to come down to 2 to 3 plays when you play an opponent like that. Which Drew? Oh, got you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know. To be honest, it didn't even feel like a center quarterback thing with Drew. It was more so we want to win. We didn't feel there was no fulfillment in the end of that at the end of last season. We're competitors. We like to win. We want to represent our school in the highest light. And I think for most people, when you get that close to something that you want, you don't just accept that it's over when you have an opportunity to make it right. So, after the Orange Bowl, we were sitting in the hotel room. A bunch of us were in there, and we were just talking about the last, as the season had went on, reflecting of it and all, and just not satisfied. I couldn't tell you, bro. There's probably 10 to 12 of us. I know there was a guy my guy Don Roy was in there, Drew Shelton was in there, my Grunk Kamara was in there. There was a lot of guys in there. Yeah, just somber. You thinking about how far you came and how far you wish you would have went, and obviously missing Tyler Warren leaving and Salim leaving, they're out. Going off to the NFL and such like that. You're just getting a reflective, reminiscent mindset of where you've come from and how far you will go in your future and the present and the past. And it's really a transcendentalistic standpoint, I would say, perspective to have. It was pretty out. After that game specifically, I was pretty dead set after that, for sure. I had some thoughts prior to the season ending and all that stuff from a personal standpoint, from my NFL draft stock and stuff like that, if it would be the best decision to come back. But when something like that happens, it kind of trumps all the individual stuff, more and so into the legacy of Penn State and what I can leave behind and do at Penn State. Always. My whole life I've been representing my last name, and my last name has had so much legacy and worth attached to it before, and I've always been part of something bigger than myself, and that's how I view my life, and Penn State falls right into that category. Drew? What people don't know, Drew Aller. Okay. I would say people don't respect his leadership enough. He's a glue guy. He keeps us cohesive and as one, the ultimate competitor. And he plays the game how it's supposed to be played. And, if he says jump, I say how high. That's our leader, and he takes us where we need to go. So I know people talk about his arm, they talk about pocket awareness, they talk about whatever they want to talk about. I don't even care. It's more so about who he is as a person, his leadership, and where he'll continue to go and lead us.
What's the mentality there? Just from the time you come into the program to when you're right now?
We get it started. O-line gets everything started. You know what I mean? There is no deep passes. There are no explosive runs without us doing our job collectively as one. 5 working as one. So we take that very personal. If Drew gets touched, that's on us. If we're not hitting the run game out, that's on us. A lot of these things can all fall back to the offensive line. So when the offense isn't moving and grooving how it's supposed to, you can usually chalk that up to the O-line in some capacity, right? So when we don't get what we want, we take that very personal. And that's our unit. Taking the cohesive success of our team personal as an offensive line.
And lastly, what would you, because this high school camp saying arms line, throwing people around, that doesn't necessarily translate
No.
to the field. So what advice would you give to these young offensive linemen at these camps?
Play football, man. I can't stand the one-on-ones in youth camp, the rivals, all that stuff, the camps that kids do. I remember I got toasted when I was in high school doing those camps. You go and play real football, and it's not anything like it. It's not real football. It's a defensive focused drill, which is whatever, cool, whatever. That's football. There's drills that are focused for different people. But as a youth person, when you're in high school and such like that, you put no weight into that stuff. It's the game. O-line, when you look at O-line, how many one-on-one matchups do you really get in a game? And even if you think about it from a third down standpoint, if they have 5 up and you have a one-on-one battle, they're probably twisting or there's probably a pressure. No team just rushes 5 straight up. It's not realistic. It never will be realistic. So I don't get where that became a thing. I get you need to get that work in at, whatever, cool, but it's not realistic. Kids just need to play football. They need to worry about their feet, their weight, their nutrition, their hand placement, and their plays, and you'll be a good offensive lineman.
Nick,
specifically, obviously, that's your specifically what it's being able to elevate your legacy as far as
winning the Joe Moore Award as an offensive lineman, winning the Remington Award as a center, being the best center in the nation. If I'm the best center in the nation on the best offensive lineman in the nation, which means we have the best quarterback in the nation, that allows him to make passes to the best wide receivers in the nation, that allows us to open up lanes for the best running backs in the nation, we have a pretty good offense.
How have you been able to build synergy on the offensive line and be able to guys come together and be able, like you said, it starts with you all and being able to, move the chains and get down the field and so forth?
We're so fortunate that a lot of us came back and returned. Like, we all have a lot of cohesive synergy, and we worked together before. So, even the guys in depth, like, we get practice reps and all that stuff with them. And to be honest, you want to know how we get together? Like, we eat. The whole offensive line, we hang out, we go out to eat, we play volleyball, we go swimming. We just hang out, be guys, you know what I mean? Like, that's all it takes. Because you can play with anybody next to you. That's cool. But do you really know him? How does Wenger Ioane like his steak cooked? You know what I mean? What is Drew Shelton like on his burger? When I know you, you know what I mean? And I go to war with you, I die with you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it is, understanding who you're going to war with.
What would you tell us about Drew that lets us know that you know him?
Which Drew?
Drew Allen.
Drew Aller. What can I tell you about Drew Aller? Okay, Drew Aller is a Louis Vuitton guy. Okay, ask him about it. Drew Aller, that's his designer brand of choice. Drew Aller recently ventured into cooking. This has kind of been a new thing for him. He's been trying all these exquisite cooking, recipes and such like that. Drew Aller is a TikTok guy. He likes to go on TikTok a lot. Simplistic in the dress, like in dressing categories, you can see over there, he has a nice little gray suit, double-breast suit with just like a nice blue. He's a subtle guy, but when you get to really get to know him, he's complex. Daryl Dawkins, Muhammad Ali, and Mike Tyson.
And then last one, fun one for coaches in the movie.
Who would play James Franklin in a movie? Rebel Wilson. Michael B. Jordan or Idris Elba. Thank you. Yes. Here we are. Firstly, I was thinking, how are we getting there? How hot is it going to be? Because we got off the plane, and I almost melted on the tarmac. I did not enjoy that. It's humid in State College. This is just a dry heat. So I almost, withered away. I've always seen what Big Ten Media Day is, and I look at the guys that have been here before representing Penn State. I just hold so much respect for them. I specifically look back to P.J. Mustafer and his performance at St. Elmo's Steakhouse, and what he's done and the moniker that he's left behind, and all the guys that I respect. And I've always wanted to be someone that's held in that regard and that people look up to in the program and just in general at Penn State University, and my fellow students and my fellow alumni and such. So it's just about representing this university in the highest way possible. I get texts all the time, man. They're like, what's going on? Like, we started off, it was like, we didn't have a cafeteria in the facility. We were just eating rice. I mean, we had rice before meetings, and rice, let's go. And now, these freshmen don't know how good they have it, man. Like, we're getting full meals, you know what I mean? So, just so many, it's just little things like that. It's like the money thing is, guys don't even really care about that. They're like, yeah, cool, you know what I mean? It's awesome, you guys are getting paid. But they're like, you guys are getting steak? What? You know what I mean? So that's like the biggest thing. I try to tell them, but it's different for people who haven't lived that life. They'll never be able to really understand it. But we act like we had it so bad. Like, we're still playing college football at Penn State in front of packed out stadiums. So just maybe you're eating rice instead of eating filet mignon, right?
Maybe under a lot of scrutiny.
You guys had to go across country once last year. Somewhat new thing in the Big Ten for every team. When you went to USC, you played that game. What did you find the experience was like as far as your body having to adjust both on the front end and on the back end after that?
The worst part of the game really was when we got back and it was just so late. The time difference was but actually going into it, we gained an hour. going there. So you kind of reset in a day, 3 hours a game. And it kind of just felt like an old school bowl trip, to be honest. And it sets us up really well. It set us up really well for the postseason because you're there for like 3 days. I think we got there on Thursday, Friday, play Saturday. And that's kind of how operations were when we got to playoffs. We were only like at the sites for like 2-3 days. So the transition was pretty good. It actually was very beneficial, I would say, to be honest.
Okay, so anything you take from that, advice you would give to a new player in the program who's going west from State College this year?
Yeah, I mean, compression leggings on the flight there. Eat a nice meal, try to get some sleep on the flight. Download some movies, download some YouTube, download the playbook. Download the playbook for the young guys, download the playbook. And, yeah, I mean, it's a business trip, man. Like, be ready.
Drew will be under a lot of NFL draft scrutiny. He'll be under all the mock drafts. How would you pitch him as a franchise quarterback at the next level?
Drew Aller is the best quarterback in the country. I mean, what makes him that? His mentality, the intangibles, the field, the film. I mean, NFL scouts are going to see what they're going to see. They get paid the big bucks to go do that. Not me. I don't get paid bucks to do any of that stuff. And obviously, I come from a biased perspective. But, you know, he's one of the best teammates that I've ever been around, the best quarterback that I've ever played with. And he just is a competitor, man. He just loves to win, and he hates to lose. And I have so much fun playing football with him.
Top to bottom, which is the stronger conference right now, the Big Ten or the SEC?
I mean, I play in the Big Ten. I haven't really played much against the SEC at all. Even in my career early on, I was injured or I was not playing, so I couldn't give you a definitive answer on that.
I imagine that Nick James talks about embracing the expectations. You guys have given a lot of number one love this year, but the offensive line has not gotten this kind of love for a long time, and you've earned it after last year. What are the expectations for you and your teammates on the offensive line, and what do you think you guys are capable of when you're playing your best this year against some really good defense?
So firstly, it's awesome that, you know, we're getting that acknowledgement. You probably heard this before, but we're getting this acknowledgement. Really cool, awesome, but we don't care. It's about us. It's about what we think of each other. And you say, you know, when we're playing at our best, where do we see ourselves as the best? If anyone in college football is asked if they're playing at their best or they think they're the best, they should absolutely say yes. You know what I mean? And I think we've had the standard to be the best since Coach Troutwine's gotten there. We started day one the same day, and we've always wanted to be the best. And you know, that's why I say other people might say, "Are you going to prove people wrong?" Where we come from the mindset we're going to prove ourselves right.
The depth you have is unlike anything we've seen since your buddy Goon was playing way back in the day.
He needs a new nickname.
But seriously, how important is that to what you guys do as an offensive line when you can go too deep kind of across the board?
Yeah, you're just talking from a 2D perspective. Imagine what we can do with multiple O-line sets and what we can do in short yardage, goal line, low red zone, third down, fourth down, and such like that. It just adds so many elements to our offense, and you know, we can put guys in the backfield as fullbacks. We can legitimately do so many things, and it also adds another layer of rotation. We don't just have to play the same 5-all game. D linemen rotate all game, and we keep the same 5 in. Gives guys a fresh breather, and well, I'll just say fresh for a long season, because last year was a long season, and we want a longer season.
I imagine players who go to Penn State, people who goes from Pennsylvania, that playing in a whiteout at night is one of those dream scenarios.
Yes, sir.
When you saw that that's on the schedule, and that it is the matchup that it is, how do you feel about that?
I didn't see the matchup yet. I'm still not familiar with that. 1-0. I know we have Nevada first. We're Nevada first. Just no Twitter for me. The whiteout game in itself is just such a spectacle, and it's a show. It's a performance for the fans, and they make it themselves. Interesting for the offense. We don't really feel that love. You know, when we score a touchdown, that's awesome, but I've said this on multiple times, and I think a lot of my teammates share the same sentiment. When it's a home game like that, and you have all the fan love, and it's just football when you get out there between the sidelines, between the hashes and everything. It's just football. You don't really feel the externalness of it all because you're just so dialed on your assignment and what goes on. But like when you run out on the field and after the game you get to look around and see just the spectacle that was created by Nittany Nation, I mean, there's no words for what that is and how we feel.